Hello, my dear friends. I'm Barbara O'Neill, and today I want to share something that could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. You know, just last week I received a heartbreaking letter from Margaret, a 72-year-old grandmother from Texas. She wrote, "Barbara, I've been battling type 2 diabetes for 15 years. My doctor keeps increasing my medication, but my blood sugar keeps climbing. I feel trapped, exhausted, and honestly, I'm scared I won't see my grandchildren graduate." Margaret's story isn't unique. In fact, it's becoming frighteningly common. 1 in 4 seniors over the age of 65 now has diabetes, and those numbers are climbing every single day. But here's what breaks my heart the most. So many of you are suffering unnecessarily because you've been told that medication is your only option. Well, I'm here today to tell you that's simply not true. Now, you might be wondering, Barbara, why vegetables? What makes them so special for diabetics? Well, let me explain this in a way that makes perfect sense. When you have diabetes, your body struggles to process glucose properly. It's like having a clogged drain. The sugar backs up in your bloodstream instead of being used for energy. Most medications try to force that drain open, but vegetables, they work differently. Vegetables contain something called phytonutrients. These are natural compounds that act like tiny maintenance workers in your body. They don't just force the drain open, they actually repair it. They help your cells become more sensitive to insulin. They reduce inflammation that worsens diabetes, and they provide fiber that slows down sugar absorption. It's not magic, my friends, it's science that's been proven time and time again. Today, I'm going to share with you the 7 most powerful vegetables that can help lower your blood sugar naturally. These aren't exotic, expensive vegetables you'll struggle to find. These are common, affordable vegetables that you probably walked past 100 times in your local grocery store without realizing you were walking past your medicine. But before we dive in, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't about completely eliminating your medication overnight. This is about empowering yourself with knowledge and working with your healthcare provider to potentially reduce your dependence on drugs. I've seen people go from multiple medications to none. I've seen others simply reduce their dosages and feel better than they have in years. Every journey is different, but every journey begins with a single step. Vegetable number 1, bitter melon. Let me tell you about the first vegetable that has absolutely amazed me with its blood sugar lowering abilities, bitter melon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Barbara, bitter? That doesn't sound very appetizing. But stay with me here, because this vegetable might just be the breakthrough you've been praying for. I'll never forget when I first introduced bitter melon to Dorothy, a 68-year-old retired teacher whose fasting blood sugar was consistently over 200. She was skeptical, to say the least. "Barbara," she said, "I've never even heard of this vegetable." But Dorothy was desperate. She'd been increasing her metformin dose for years, and the side effects were making her miserable. Constant stomach upset, fatigue, and that awful metallic taste in her mouth. Here's what makes bitter melon so extraordinary. It contains something called charantin, a compound that works almost exactly like insulin in your body. But unlike synthetic insulin, it doesn't cause those dangerous blood sugar crashes. It also contains something called polypeptide P, which researchers call plant insulin. This isn't some new age nonsense, my friends. There have been over 100 scientific studies on bitter melon, and the results are nothing short of remarkable. The beauty of bitter melon is its versatility. You can juice it. Just half a cup of fresh bitter melon juice in the morning can lower your blood sugar by 20 to 30 points within hours. I've seen it happen countless times. You can also stir fry it with a little olive oil and garlic, which actually reduces the bitterness significantly. Or if you're really struggling with the taste, you can find it in supplement form, though I always prefer the whole food when possible. Dorothy started with just 2 ounces of bitter melon juice every morning. Within 3 weeks, her fasting blood sugar dropped to 140. Within 2 months, it was consistently under 120. Her doctor was so impressed that he reduced her medication by half. But more importantly, Dorothy told me, "Barbara, I feel like myself again. I have energy. I can play with my grandchildren without getting exhausted." Vegetable number 2, Okra dash. Now, let's talk about a vegetable that's probably sitting in your grocery store right now, quietly holding one of nature's most powerful diabetes-fighting secrets, okra. Yes, that humble green pod that many of you might only know from gumbo is actually a blood sugar miracle worker. I learned about okra's power from my dear friend and colleague in India, where they've been using it to treat diabetes for thousands of years. They call it lady's fingers, and in Ayurvedic medicine, it's considered one of the most important foods for diabetics. But it wasn't until I saw the science that I truly understood why. Okra contains a unique type of soluble fiber that creates a gel-like substance in your digestive system. Think of it like a protective barrier that slows down sugar absorption. But here's where it gets really interesting. Okra also contains something called myricetin, a powerful compound that improves your body's ability to use insulin effectively. It's like giving your cells a tune-up so they can actually respond to insulin the way they're supposed to. I remember James, a 75-year-old retired firefighter who came to me with type 2 diabetes and neuropathy so bad he could barely walk. His blood sugar was out of control despite being on 3 different medications. I suggested he start with what I call okra water. Simply soak 4 or 5 okra pods in water overnight, remove the pods in the morning, and drink the water on an empty stomach. James was skeptical, but he was also desperate. Within just 1 week, his blood sugar readings started dropping. But here's what really amazed him. The neuropathy pain in his feet began to ease. You see, okra doesn't just lower blood sugar. It also helps repair the nerve damage that high blood sugar causes. After 2 months of daily okra water, along with eating okra in his meals 3 times a week, James's average blood sugar dropped from 280 to 135. The beautiful thing about okra is how easy it is to incorporate into your diet. You can roast it with a little olive oil until it's crispy. This completely eliminates any sliminess that some people don't like. You can add it to soups and stews where it acts as a natural thickener while secretly working to stabilize your blood sugar. You can even pickle it for a tangy, probiotic-rich snack that's perfect for diabetics. Vegetable number 3, broccoli sprouts. Now I want to share something that might surprise you. It's not broccoli I'm talking about, though broccoli is wonderful. It's broccoli sprouts. These tiny powerhouses contain up to 100 times more of the blood sugar fighting compounds than mature broccoli. This isn't an exaggeration. This is documented scientific fact. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 70-year-old grandmother who'd been insulin dependent for 5 years. When she came to me, she was injecting insulin 4 times a day, and still her blood sugar was unpredictable. Some days it would spike to 300, other days it would crash to 50. She lived in constant fear, never knowing if she'd have a crisis. Broccoli sprouts contain massive amounts of something called sulforaphane. This compound does something remarkable. It actually helps regenerate the cells in your pancreas that produce insulin. Think about that for a moment. While most diabetes treatments just manage symptoms, sulforaphane actually helps repair the organ that's not working properly. It's like the difference between constantly bailing water out of a leaking boat versus actually fixing the hole. But sulforaphane does even more. It reduces inflammation throughout your body, protects your blood vessels from the damage high blood sugar causes, and even helps your liver process glucose more efficiently. It's not treating one aspect of diabetes. It's supporting your entire body's ability to manage blood sugar naturally. Sarah started adding just a handful of broccoli sprouts to her salad every day. That's it. Within 6 weeks, she was able to reduce her insulin by half. Within 4 months, she was down to just 1 injection a day. Her endocrinologist couldn't believe it. He actually called me to ask what we were doing differently. When I explained about the broccoli sprouts, he said, "Barbara, I've been treating diabetes for 30 years and I've never seen results like this from a food." Here's something wonderful. You can grow broccoli sprouts right on your kitchen counter. You don't need a garden, you don't need special equipment, just a jar, some seeds, and water. In just 5 days, you have fresh, powerful medicine growing in your own home. It costs pennies per serving, and you know exactly what you're getting. No pesticides, no chemicals, just pure diabetes-fighting nutrition. Vegetable number 4, spinach. Let me share something that most doctors won't tell you about diabetes management. It's not just about sugar and insulin. It's about minerals, specifically magnesium, and spinach is absolutely loaded with it. You see, magnesium deficiency is found in over 80% of diabetics, and this isn't a coincidence. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle that's been overlooked for far too long. When your body lacks magnesium, your cells literally cannot respond to insulin properly. It's like trying to unlock a door with a key when the lock is rusted shut. You can have all the insulin in the world, but without adequate magnesium, your cells remain closed to glucose, leaving it to build up in your bloodstream. This is why so many people need higher and higher doses of medication. They're not addressing the underlying mineral deficiency. But spinach offers something even more remarkable. It's one of the richest sources of alpha-lipoic acid, a compound that's so powerful for diabetics that it's actually prescribed as a medication in some countries. Alpha-lipoic acid does 3 critical things. It improves insulin sensitivity by up to 50%, it protects your nerves from high blood sugar damage, and it actually helps regenerate other antioxidants in your body, creating a cascade of healing effects. What fascinates me most is that just 2 cups of fresh spinach daily can provide enough magnesium and alpha-lipoic acid to make a measurable difference in your blood sugar levels within days. Not weeks or months, days. I've documented cases where people's fasting blood sugar dropped by 30 points just by adding a large spinach salad to their lunch and dinner. Vegetable number 5, cauliflower. Now let me introduce you to what I call the great pretender of the vegetable world, cauliflower. This humble white vegetable has an extraordinary ability to replace high-carb foods in your diet without making you feel deprived. And when you're managing diabetes, feeling satisfied with your meals is just as important as the nutritional content. Most people don't realize that cauliflower contains compounds called glucosinolates, which are converted in your body to something called indole 3-carbinol. This substance has been shown to improve insulin signaling at the cellular level. It literally helps your cells communicate better with insulin, making them more responsive and efficient at pulling glucose from your bloodstream. Cauliflower contains a special type of fiber that most nutrition labels don't differentiate. It's called resistant starch. When you cook cauliflower and then let it cool, some of its carbohydrates transform into this resistant starch, which acts more like fiber than a carb. It passes through your digestive system largely undigested, feeding your beneficial gut bacteria instead of spiking your blood sugar. These gut bacteria then produce something called short-chain fatty acids, particularly one called butyrate, which has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity by up to 40% in clinical studies. It's a perfect example of how working with your body's natural systems produces better results than trying to override them with medications. I've developed several ways to use cauliflower that have revolutionized how my diabetic clients eat. Cauliflower rice, for instance, has only 5 grams of carbs per cup compared to 45 grams in regular rice. But here's the key, you need to prepare it correctly. Pulse raw cauliflower in a food processor, then saute it with a bit of coconut oil and turmeric. The coconut oil provides medium-chain triglycerides that actually help stabilize blood sugar, while turmeric adds anti-inflammatory benefits that every diabetic needs. Cauliflower mash is another game changer. When prepared with roasted garlic and a touch of grass-fed butter, it's so creamy and satisfying that you won't miss mashed potatoes. But unlike potatoes, which can spike your blood sugar by 60 to 80 points, cauliflower mash typically raises it by less than 10 points. I've seen people cry with joy when they realize they can have mashed potatoes with their dinner again. Vegetable number 6, Brussels sprouts. My dear friends, I've saved 2 of the most powerful vegetables for last, and Brussels sprouts might just surprise you the most. I know many of you have bad memories of overcooked, bitter Brussels sprouts from childhood, but I'm about to show you why these little green powerhouses deserve a second chance, especially if you're fighting diabetes. Brussels sprouts contain the highest concentration of glucosinolates of any common vegetable, even more than their cousins broccoli and cauliflower. But what makes them truly special for diabetics is their unique combination of fiber and vitamin K. You see, vitamin K doesn't just help with blood clotting. Recent research has shown it plays a crucial role in insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. Here's what your doctor probably hasn't told you. Chronic inflammation is the hidden driver behind most diabetic complications. It's inflammation that damages your blood vessels, leading to heart disease. It's inflammation that destroys nerve endings, causing neuropathy. And it's inflammation that makes your cells resist insulin in the first place. Brussels sprouts contain something called kaempferol, one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds found in nature. Studies have shown that kaempferol can reduce inflammatory markers in diabetics by up to 60%. But here's what's truly remarkable. It specifically targets the type of inflammation that makes cells resist insulin. It's like sending in a specialized repair crew to fix exactly what's broken. Brussels sprouts provide 4 grams of fiber per cup, but it's not just any fiber. It's a perfect combination of soluble and insoluble fiber that creates what I call a glucose buffer in your system. The soluble fiber forms a gel that slows sugar absorption, while the insoluble fiber helps move everything through your digestive system, preventing the blood sugar roller coaster that exhausts your pancreas. But there's something else. Brussels sprouts contain a prebiotic fiber called raffinose. Your beneficial gut bacteria ferment this fiber, producing compounds that literally signal your liver to produce less glucose. Think about that. These vegetables actually communicate with your organs to help regulate blood sugar. No medication can do that with such precision and without side effects. Vegetable number 7, cabbage. And now the 7th and final vegetable, one that's so humble, so common that most people walk right past it without realizing they're passing by one of nature's most powerful diabetes medicines. I'm talking about cabbage, particularly red cabbage, though green cabbage is powerful too. Cabbage might be the most underrated vegetable in existence. It costs pennies per serving, lasts for weeks in your refrigerator, and contains compounds that can transform your blood sugar control. Red cabbage in particular contains anthocyanins, the same compounds that make blueberries famous, but in even higher concentrations and with specific benefits for diabetics. Here's something that will blow your mind. When you eat cabbage, its blood sugar lowering effects last for up to 36 hours. This isn't because it stays in your system that long, but because it triggers changes in your gut bacteria and liver function that continue long after the cabbage is digested. It's like setting a positive chain reaction in motion. Cabbage contains something called glucoraphanin, which your body converts to sulforaphane. Yes, the same compound in broccoli sprouts, but in a form that's activated differently. In cabbage, this compound specifically targets your liver, helping it become more efficient at managing glucose. Your liver is like your body's glucose thermostat, and cabbage helps recalibrate it to normal settings. Now, let me tell you about fermented cabbage, sauerkraut, and kimchi. When you ferment cabbage, you're not just preserving it, you're transforming it into a probiotic superfood that's specifically beneficial for diabetics. The fermentation process creates lactic acid, which has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity by up to 40% in clinical studies. But here's what's really exciting. Fermented cabbage contains billions of beneficial bacteria that actually help regulate your blood sugar. These bacteria produce compounds called bacteriocins that improve glucose metabolism and reduce insulin resistance. They also help heal your gut lining, which is often damaged in diabetics, leading to system-wide inflammation. Making sauerkraut at home is incredibly simple. Shred cabbage, massage it with salt until it releases its juices, pack it in a jar, and let it ferment for a week. That's it. You've just created medicine that pharmaceutical companies would charge hundreds of dollars for if they could patent it. Here's what's incredible. When you eat these 7 vegetables regularly, their benefits don't just add up, they multiply. Each vegetable makes the others work better. The magnesium from spinach helps the sulforaphane from broccoli sprouts work more effectively. The fiber from Brussels sprouts enhances the probiotic benefits of sauerkraut. The anti-inflammatory compounds in bitter melon make your cells more responsive to all the other nutrients. Within 30 days of following this protocol, most people see their fasting blood sugar drop by 40 to 60 points. Their energy levels soar. Their neuropathy symptoms improve. They need less medication. Some are able to eliminate medication entirely under their doctor's supervision. I want to be very clear about something. Type 2 diabetes is not the life sentence you've been told it is. Your body has a remarkable ability to heal when you give it the right tools. These 7 vegetables are those tools. They're not exotic supplements or expensive treatments. They're simple, natural foods that work with your body's own healing mechanisms. But here's what I need you to understand. Knowledge without action is worthless. You can know everything about these vegetables, but unless you actually eat them, nothing will change. Start tomorrow. Start with just 1 vegetable if that's all you can manage, but start. Your grandchildren deserve to have you around, healthy and vibrant. You deserve to live without the constant fear of blood sugar spikes and crashes. You deserve to feel energetic and alive, not tired and sick. These vegetables can give you that life back, but you have to take the first step.